Welcome to those who are joining us already. The event tonight is going to start at 6:30, so feel free to get comfortable and get a drink, get situated, and we will start at 6:30. Thank you. Hello and welcome to everyone that is in the room and joining us already. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes, so feel free to get comfortable, grab a drink, get situated, and we will start in 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome to everyone that's joined us so far. The event is starting in about 3 minutes, so feel free to get comfortable, grab a drink, get yourself situated, and we will get started in 3 minutes. Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for the wellness talk about holistic health for glowing skin. Tonight with Rhiannon Little, we are going to discuss how to get glowing skin from the inside out. We're joined with Elisa from Organika as well, and my name is Haley Giddens, and I'm the Corporate Events Coordinator with Nature's Fair Markets. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening, and thank you to Organika for our event partnership tonight. The presentation will be about 45 minutes, and note that the attendee microphones are muted, but the Q&A box is open. So throughout the webinar, we encourage you to submit your questions in the Q&A box on the right of the screen. And Elisa from Organika and myself will be able to answer questions throughout, or just flag them for Rhiannon to do some question and answer at the end. A recording of the presentation will be sent via email along with a coupon to thank you for your participation tonight. So before I hand it over to Rhiannon, I'd like to give you a little bit on her background. She's a registered holistic nutritionist and is passionate about helping people with hormones, digestion, and mental health, especially since they're all interconnected. She's also the co-host of Organika's podcast, The Enhanced Life, where conversations about health are made easy and accessible for everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Rhiannon. We're all very much looking forward to hearing from your expertise.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cough so hard. I forgot that I took myself off mute and I just coughed straight into my microphone.
All good. Welcome. I'm going to shut my mic off while you get going, but have a great presentation, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much. And yeah, sorry for everyone for just coughing up a lung right into your ears. I hope you have all had a wonderful day, and thank you so much, Haley. I am so excited to be here today. I don't think you guys understand how much I love doing presentations. It's become one of the new things that I love a lot to do. So, and I especially like to talk about beauty. I do like to talk about hormones. I do like to talk about mental health. All of them are actually kind of interconnected. And I think I don't get to talk about this one that much, but I've had my own history of issues, particularly when we're looking at skin. Just to kind of give you a bit of background, it was one of those things that piqued my interest in holistic nutrition. I definitely did have some issues kind of coming out of university, surprisingly enough, where with cystic acne, going through high school, I was always someone that was trying different topical creams. So I definitely tried Proactive, all of those medicated creams that my doctor was giving me to try and quell things down. But then finally, after years of doing that, and then finally diving into holistic nutrition, definitely found what worked for me. And it was not using topical creams, turns out it was stuff that was happening inside that I actually needed to adjust a little bit. So we're going to dive in today into holistic health for glowing skin. So this is going to be talking about some of those tangible things that you can be doing regularly to make sure that you are nourishing yourself from the inside out, because that's truly what health is now. You really need to work from the inside and go out. And do not worry, we are going to dive deep into collagen. I know that is definitely one of the top questions that I get asked from so many of my clients, is which type of collagen do I choose and what does it do? So we will dive into all of that. Do not worry. I feel collagen nowadays is just linked with skin. So we have to talk about it. So number one, thank you so much, Nature's Fair. Again, like I said, I love doing these. I especially love doing them for some of the companies that I truly am passionate about. And I think Nature's Fair is doing such amazing things. So it is always really nice to be part of these conversations. And again, thank you so much for having us. It really does mean the world. A bit about Organika for any of you that do not know. I will say for myself, I've actually been with Organika in 2 different capacities over the last 2.5-ish years. I was working on the marketing team, and then I left to go work full-time as a holistic nutritionist, but still definitely come back and get to do things like this and get to help out with some of the marketing things as well right now. But Organika, the reason I always come back is because they are a natural health and beauty company, wellness, all the good things that's in BC. We're just outside of Vancouver. So if you've ever kind of driven across the Knight Street Bridge, you'll know that you'll see the Organika signs on both sides, and it's kind of fun. And actually about to celebrate 30 years, which is a big milestone, just going from something so small. And Tom Chin, the founder, really knocking on doors and trying to get supplements into people's hands to what it is today with all the amazing potions and powders and all the great things. And like I said, I keep coming back to the company because I love the people and the products. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And a bit about me. So I am a registered holistic nutritionist at Integrative Naturopathic Medical Center. So that is a naturopathic clinic in Vancouver. I can't even say if there's any kind of specialty. There's about 10 doctors there and they all do something different, but they're all absolutely amazing. So I get to learn so much every day. But I think the one thing that at the end of the day that I keeps coming back is the importance of how everything is so intertwined. And it all is going to start in with our gut. It's going to start in with our hormones. There's so many things that work together. And just trying to help people find balance. And this is what I'm hoping that some of this conversation can do today, is to help you find balance. Because I'll be honest, for me, yes, I love nutrition. Currently I'm drinking some dandelion tea to, help with my liver. But maybe on the weekend, I'm probably going to have a glass of wine and some dark chocolate. So it's always about finding the balance that works for you. Okay, I'll be real. I'm probably going to have 2 glasses of wine. I love red wine. There's never not a season for red wine. So a quick note just before we begin, always a disclaimer. So this whole presentation, so images, references, any products or claims, they're all for informational purposes only. Do be sure that you consult a medical professional for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I do wish I could, wave a magic wand and have the perfect answer for you. But when it comes to working from the inside out, it's always a long road, and it usually means working one-on-one with someone. Keep going to hit my next button on my computer screen, but I realize I can't. So a little bit about today's discussion. I just want to kind of give you guys a bit of a guide as to where we're going to be going today. First, we're going to be talking about balancing your gut, because your gut is so important when it comes to your skin health. And then we're going to dive into collagen. I promised we're going to do it, so we are going to do it. And then go into some foods, because foods are so essential to our skin health, to our hair health, to any of our beauty. So the things that we're adding and the things that we're avoiding. And then I'm going to touch on a few other Rockstar beauty supplements, because there are other things that you can add that are going to give you that extra boost. And these are some of my tried and true loves, or the tried and true favorites. So first, in the chat box, if you guys can use it, I have a few questions for you. So number one, and I guess you also don't have to say it to everybody, but is there anyone here dealing with some kind of skin issue? I can say I definitely go through periods where I'm 29 now and I still get acne. Well, not acne necessarily, but I still definitely have breakout periods. And I know what it's from, so that always kind of helps. But is there anyone here who's dealing with some kind of skin issue, whether or not it's eczema, psoriasis, rosacea? Again, adult acne can be a thing. If you don't want to answer there, you can always just kind of think about it as well. Psoriasis on the legs. That's pretty common. My dad actually has that as well. Rosacea, that's another one that's quite common. Menopause, yes. Dry skin is even a thing that a lot of people deal with, that we don't always consider a skin issue. Oily skin as well, like those different types of skin that's happening. Adult acne, yeah, totally a thing. Eczema, totally a thing. And a lot of these can come back to our gut health or what's going on the inside as well. Lots of things going on here. Thank you guys so much for sharing that. That is very much appreciated. With those, my second question is there anyone here who has desired longer and stronger hair? I definitely have. I'm trying to grow mine out right now. I am taking a lot of collagen, let me tell you. My hair at this time last year was like here. So it's grown quite a bit. Also for someone who like highlights it, it's pretty strong. So if you're hoping you want longer and stronger hair, give me a yes in the chat box. Or if you've tried topical creams or shampoos that haven't seemed to work. Like I said in the beginning, I was that person up until probably 20, maybe, where I would was trying Proactive. I had prescription, like medicated creams for my face. All of those things were happening. And they just weren't working. Like nothing seemed to work for me. And like I said, until I got to that root cause, it just kept coming back. Oh man, yes. Love the engagement, you guys. You're awesome. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, and one thing too is I just kind of off the top of my head, making sure that we like these conversations or these questions that we're asking, sharing them a bit more, because you'd be surprised at how many people are going through the same thing but don't want to talk about it. Like a lot of people don't want to be talking about their thinning hair, or they don't want to be talking about, adult acne. They're just putting makeup on and covering it up and walking around, but you'd be surprised at how many people are going through some similar things. When it comes to what's causing your skin issues, there's a few different triggers. We are going to dive into a few of them a bit more, but some of the most common things that I tend to see with clients is imbalanced gut. So that can be anything like dysbiosis, so an imbalance of good and bad bacteria, inflammation, sluggish detox pathways. So that means that everything from our liver to our bowel movements are kind of a little bit slower. Food intolerances are huge when it comes to food sensitive or skin issues. For example, that's what mine is. If I have dairy, man, I am going to be breaking out. I've started breaking out because I started having cheese a little bit. It was just really delicious. But I realized quite quickly that it doesn't agree with my body. Hormone imbalances, another big thing. This is why we tend to see, through puberty, adult acne, we see those things pop up because we have major hormone imbalances. Lack of sleep, major contributing factor. Not necessarily just like acne kind of thing, but if we're talking about eczema, we're talking about dry skin, we're talking about like just thin, tired looking skin, sleep is huge. Same with a high stress lifestyle. So going into balancing your gut is made up of good and bad bacteria. So you have these in a good balance. And this is what makes up what's called our gut microbiome. And I like to look at our gut microbiome like a little rainforest. And the importance of this rainforest is that we keep a balance, because like in a normal rainforest where you have trees and animals and all of these things that help it to thrive, as soon as you take one of them out, like in a rainforest, maybe you have deforestation or certain animals are, unfortunately dying off, or sometimes you have certain diseases that come in and kill off certain plants. This causes an imbalance and means that the rainforest isn't going to thrive like it did before. The same thing happens within our gut. If our gut microbiome is, we have a bad balance of the bad bacteria to the good, usually it means we have too much of that bad stuff. We're not going to be able to have our gut thrive. It's not going to be as alive. It's not going to do the job that it's supposed to do as well. So when it is imbalanced as well, the other piece is that we have trouble absorbing the right nutrients. So we can't necessarily get rid of the toxins. Carrie, I will get to your question about testing for sensitivities later. So we can talk about that too, if it doesn't get answered in the side. When it is imbalanced, we can't really necessarily absorb the right nutrients. And the downside of that is that you want to be able to get all the amazing things that are coming from plants that you're eating, or, if you're getting some good, clean quality protein, you're getting healthy fats, you want to see that show up in your skin. You want to see that show up every day. But if our gut is off, then it's not necessarily being taken in and utilized as it can be. The other piece is that we can't get rid of those toxins properly. So if our gut is not balanced as well, sometimes we're also absorbing bad stuff. We maybe aren't absorbing the good stuff, but we are absorbing the bad stuff as well. And this is also where like better bowel movements come in, because if we are not having a regular bowel movement, and this is something like once a day at least, and it being decently formed, so it should be banana shaped. I do, as a nutritionist, any nutritionists that are listening right now, you probably talk about bowel movements more than anything else, because it is so key to your overall health. So if you're not having those and you're seeing a lot of skin issues pop up, it could be a good idea to start there. So other things to look out for, and I think we've hit on most of these already when it comes to balancing your gut, other things that might be a contributing factor and not necessarily showing up in just your skin, is acne, eczema, rosacea. So those are those skin ones. Mental health And so mental fatigue, brain fog, and an inability to focus. You have a white coating on your tongue, and digestive issues. So the digestive issues is pretty clear. Most people realize if they have a digestive issue, their gut is off. White coating on the tongue can be more of that yeast overgrowth, inability to focus, mental fatigue, and brain fog, kind of in that same vein as well. So let's dive into a few gut disruptors. So things that you don't necessarily, I'm not telling you to totally avoid these or totally to take them out of your diet, but just being aware of how much you're taking. So when we're looking at this, sugar intake is a major contributing factor to an imbalanced gut. It's also a major contributing factor to inflammation in the body, which is another gut disruptor. And it can overall, you just want to try to at least be avoiding those refined sugars. That means the white sugars, the white breads. I think we kind of all know this piece by now. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So these are things like Advil, ibuprofen. Again, not necessarily saying that you don't need to take or avoiding them completely, but if you're relying on them on a regular basis, so that's, 1, maybe 2 times a week, even a few times a month, maybe kind of seeing what that root cause is, and maybe seeing if there's something else that you can be doing as well. Excessive alcohol is a major gut disruptor. Nutrient deficiency, so things like zinc, that's a huge contributor to our gut lining, and making sure that we have good, what's called tight junction. So that's what keeps the good stuff coming through our intestinal walls, as well as the bad stuff from staying into where it's supposed to stay. Basically, it keeps things in the right places. Inflammation, again, like I mentioned, that's huge. Stress is also plays into inflammation. When we're stressed, sometimes we have a higher sugar intake because we're, trying to reach for those carby things. Managing stress is a whole other beast. Yeast overgrowth is a big part. Antibiotic use is huge. Certain medications also play a massive role. So that's things like the birth control pill, other over-the-counter medications as well. Another thing that we don't talk about much here, and I won't dive too deeply into it, but like for children, if you either know someone or you're kind of going through this yourself, C-sections and not breastfeeding can cause a bit of gut disruption. Not to say there's anything wrong with either of those. I know it's super hard with, I have a friend right now who's trying to breastfeed her baby, and it's just the most complicated thing ever, and it's breaking my heart and her heart. But just knowing that can be a contributing factor for when they're older is a good start. Just having that knowledge, feeling empowered in that knowledge. Now let's dive into collagen. I know that I usually get so many questions about it, and this is why I do want to take that deep dive and chat about the different types, because there's a lot that you might see out there. And then highlighting certain benefits of each of them, because they're all going to have a different place. Now, number one, why collagen? I will say, so actually one of the doctors at my clinic, she, I think, has 7 tablespoons of collagen a day in different forms. And her hair is like long and luscious. She also has some autoimmune issues as well. So she's using it for that. It's kind of twofold. But collagen is the most abundant protein in mammals. So it actually makes up 70 to 80% of what's found in our skin, 80% of our tendons, 60% of our muscle mass, and 60% of our cartilage. So that's a huge portion of our body that's made up of this protein. And that's another thing that I like to remind people is sometimes we don't necessarily know what collagen is, but it's just a protein. It's that simple. It's that clean. It's one of those things that if I have clients that like to make smoothies and they can't find proteins to put in it, I love collagen for that, because it is just one of those very simple things that doesn't taste like anything. So it's not going to overpower. Like I'll sometimes do a flavored vegan protein powder, and I slightly regret it most times that I do it because it just overpowers the whole smoothie. Now, the real question is, do I have to supplement? So the one thing I do want to highlight is we don't necessarily eat like our far off ancestors did. So we look back, actually probably not even that far, we always used to eat nose to tail. So we ate the skin, we ate the fat, we used the bones, we used everything, and none of it went to waste. versus today we've had a fat-free movement. So, no one really likes to have skin on their chicken. You need to cut off the little bits if you have a piece of beef. We're not eating the whole thing. We're not gnawing on the little like chicken thighs and eating that dark meat that has all the joint and cartilagey bits in it. We're eating a chicken breast that's primarily just lean meat. So we're losing out on a lot of natural collagen that we see. And the other piece is, did you actually know that your body naturally makes collagen? So when I do say that though, as we start to age, our body doesn't create the same amount of collagen as it did before. So up until about 25 to 30-ish, once we hit that mark, our body starts to stop producing collagen as much. And so by the age of like 40, you're probably about half the amount of collagen that you were making when you were 20. And the reason that it's important to also supplement with it, or the reason that you can be supplementing with it, is because if we're not getting that, and we're also not eating a lot of the foods that we need to produce it on our own, so we need vitamin C and we need some amino acids to be able to create it in our own body. But a lot of us aren't eating enough vitamin C to create it at the rate that we need to. We're also not eating those amino acids to be able to create it at the rate that we need to. So by supplementing with a variety, with any collagen that you're kind of looking at, then you're going to be able to rebuild that, rebuild the collagen that you're missing. The other benefits and the reasons I also love collagen, not just for that like hair, skin, nails piece, but it can also help repair our gut lining. And then it's so important when it comes to those tight junctions that I talked about before, when we're looking at that inflammation piece. And the reason I bring this up is because our gut lining, if our gut lining is imbalanced, or if there's something off, then we see inflammation that can come up in our skin, or we sometimes see food sensitivities develop that can come up in our skin. There's a lot of contributing factors. We really want to make sure that we're repairing that gut. Now, it's really hard to choose the right collagen for you. And I say that because that's what we think. It's actually not that bad. I think when you're in a store, you see a bunch of different collagens in front of you, you will now have some information to be able to make an educated choice. I will say right now, I see, Shayla, your question about should men be taking collagen, even if it's already been answered, I will say yes. I put probably 2 to 3 tablespoons of collagen in my boyfriend's coffee every morning, mainly because, not for the hair, skin, nails piece, it's simply because he works in trades and he doesn't eat most of the day unless I force feed him. So I usually will put some protein, aka collagen, into his coffee, as well as some either coconut oil or MCT, so he gets some calories first thing in the morning before he goes to work, because he has a physically active job. So yeah, men, yes, definitely can be taking collagen, and can be very helpful, especially if they're athletes or they are physically active, just for those joints and things like that too. So in terms of choosing which collagen is for you, I'm going to kind of go through mainly the ones that Organika has. You can, to be honest, it's going to be pretty similar across most brands. But I have recommended Organika to almost every single client that I have, because I know and I trust the brand. When we're looking at the enhanced collagen, this is coming from free-range, grass-fed cattle. It supports healthy hair growth, skin elasticity, and nail growth and strength. My nails specifically, I used to have very flimsy nails when I was younger, and then I started adding collagen in probably when I moved to Vancouver, and they've never grown as fast. The difference between enhanced collagen and marine collagen, they are pretty similar in the sense that both of them are going to be beneficial for your hair, skin, and nails. Some people find that marine collagen works a little bit faster if we're looking from the beauty side. The main difference is that enhanced collagen also actually can be a little bit more beneficial for our gut repair. So if you're not pescatarian, I would usually suggest for people to do the enhanced collagen, purely because it's going to be a little bit more financially doable for most people. Anytime you see marine collagen, just because of how the quality of sourcing is, it is almost always going to be a little bit more pricey. But again, it's great quality, and you are still going to be seeing a lot of those really amazing benefits. But enhanced collagen, if you're looking more of that gut piece, then, I would say definitely enhanced collagen is a great option. Under the Organika line, some people always ask me this. So just if you are purchasing the enhanced collagen, do make sure you read the label. One is Relax, and that is enhanced collagen plus magnesium and L-theanine. The other one is enhanced collagen vitality, and that's a mix of matcha and collagen. So just make sure you read the label before you purchase, because some people will grab the wrong one. Yeah, and I've used both enhanced collagen and marine collagen kind of on and off, depending on what I have access to. And I find that both are absolutely amazing. And then when you're looking for a plant-based option, so this is the question we get a lot. Okay, and I have a lot of clients that ask me this. Okay, Rhiannon, like, I don't eat meat, or I'm not going to have fish. What can I do? And there's a lot of plant-based boosters that are coming out on the market. The reason I specifically love Organika's is because it does also contain what's called ginseng peptides, as well as carrot peptides. And what makes that different is because it has similar amino acids to what you would find in collagen. It has the same profile, not necessarily the same amounts. But the thing is, it also is so high in vitamin C. So vitamin C, like I mentioned before, is essential for collagen production in your body. So it has a lot of other antioxidants as well that are going to help to combat any kind of free radical damage that might be happening with your skin. So you kind of have like a 1-2 punch there. You have, number one, your body is trying to produce a little bit more collagen by using these ingredients. And number two, you have the antioxidants that are going to fight off any of the bad stuff that might be happening. And the next one is bone broth. So this is kind of outside of the word collagen, but it still contains collagen. And I like to highlight the chicken bone broth especially because it contains what's called type 2 collagen. So when we're looking at enhanced collagen, that has types 1 and 3, versus marine collagen has just a type 1. Chicken collagen or chicken bone broth especially, it's very rare you'll see like just chicken collagen, has type 2. Now, type 2 has been beneficial for a lot of people dealing with things like osteoarthritis, joint pain. It's super high in glutamine, and that also is going to be really supportive for better gut health. I like doing the bone broth. Like, I recommend a lot of times if I have clients that have gut health issues, taking it by itself first thing in the morning, like before you take in anything else, so it can just act directly onto your gut lining. And it doesn't have to like fight for anything else to happen. The other piece of your beauty that I love to talk about, and I think this one, because we had that fat-free phase for a while, I think that we're finally, for some people at least, finally coming around to the idea that fats are important. And I definitely had a major time where I thought fats were like no-go. I would only have a couple nuts during the day. And my skin definitely dealt with it. It was a lot drier. My hair was really brittle. My skin was just like, it wasn't hydrated looking. It wasn't supple. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. My hair was super dry. But including good quality fats is essential for supple skin and stronger hair. And I love things like avocado, coconut. If you're doing wild-caught fish is so good, especially when we're looking at those wild-caught fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, anchovy, sardines, all of those little guys. Like, you can literally just grab the cans of them because they're so great because they have omega-3. Omega-3 is important, super important, for inflammation. If you aren't going to be having wild-caught fish on a regular basis, I always do suggest people supplementing with some kind of omega-3 as well if they can. So that can be something like a krill oil supplement. Alternatively, if you are like trying to find different ways to incorporate good quality fats, MCT oil. If you're that person that likes to do MCT oil in your coffee, that's an awesome option. Or trying to use face oils rather than oil-free moisturizers. I know a lot of us go for oil-free, but there's so many oils out there nowadays that are actually going to be more beneficial for someone that's dealing with eczema or rosacea or acne than those oil-free counterparts. Okay, now let's look at some foods to include. We talked about a couple supplements. We are going to talk about a couple more. Don't worry. It was more of that collagen piece I wanted to make sure that you guys got. But the important foods to include, and this goes back to even talking about that plant-based collagen booster, is incorporating plants. Plants are so high in antioxidants, and they help to combat that free radical damage. So they act against the things that are trying to cause the bad stuff. So you always want to make sure a diet high in plants or rich in different phytonutrients that are coming from plants is so great. High fiber foods. This kind of goes back to that gut balancing piece, because high fiber foods are going to be really important to keep things moving through your body. It's moving it out of your body and keeping those toxins, excess hormones, all of those things just straight out. Probiotic rich foods. Probiotic rich foods, or, some people would prefer a probiotic. Kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, tempeh, miso paste, all amazing options to help balance that good bacteria in your gut. And I also love clean protein sources. I talked about how collagen, I love that as a clean protein source, but other options are things like legumes, eggs. Eggs are one of the most bioavailable sources of protein for us. So, if you're really trying to either be budget friendly, eggs are a great option for protein. Unprocessed soy, there's a bit of back and forth with a lot of people for soy, and it obviously depends on the person, but if you're going to be having it, making sure it is GMO free, organic, all those things. Meat, collagens, bone broth, all those are super important. Now, some foods to avoid. High sugar foods, so a lot of that is kind of coming back from that list of gut disruptors as well. Dairy. Dairy kind of goes in along that line of those food intolerances that can cause people issues. Cow's dairy especially, I find very inflammatory for most people that I talk to. So that tends to lead to this bigger issues like rosacea or like the eczema, sometimes little spots on the arms that can be from either dairy or gluten sometimes. Alcohol is a huge factor. Alcohol, especially when we're looking at that tired skin, it also impacts our liver, and our liver is really important for our skin health too. Coffee. Coffee is, I'm not telling you to quit it. Do not worry, but just kind of being aware of how much you're having. It can have a really big effect on our hormones. So if you're dealing with a lot of, hormone-related skin issues, then maybe looking at coffee and maybe cutting back on it or cutting it out completely is a good option for you. Foods that you are sensitive to. So this goes back to that dairy piece. If you're showing up sensitive to things like dairy, gluten, whatever it is, high histamine foods, those can all be really impactful for your skin health. A few lifestyle tips, so things that we don't necessarily chat about right now, is making sure that you're using natural at-home cleaning products. The lucky thing about Nature's Fair is you have all of that at your hands. You have all-purpose cleaners. If you can look at hand and dish soaps, laundry detergents, all of these things are going to be super amazing when it comes to your overall health, even your beauty routine. So making sure that you are checking that beauty routine. What kind of shampoos are you using? What does your face wash look like? Do you have any stress management practices? Because stress is going to be a massive factor in our overall, like anti-aging especially. Or, some people do have major eczema flare-ups during times of stress, psoriasis flare-ups during times of stress. Making sure that you're getting quality shut-eye. That one is a massive part. Every night, getting enough sleep, getting your 7 to 9 hours, whatever works for you, and trying to keep it to, going to bed at 11 and getting up 6 to 7 a.m. And then trying to move your body daily, getting in a good, not even a sweat, but just moving, kind of moving things around, getting that all going. And then a few other Rockstar beauty besties that I find can be really helpful for a lot of people or a lot of clients that I've seen are any kind of pre and probiotics, specifically because, again, going back to those fermented foods, if you are not consuming fermented foods on a regular basis, having a pre and a probiotic can be very beneficial. The prebiotic especially, because it's going to help to nourish that gut bacteria, the good gut bacteria. So it kind of acts like food for that. So it can continue to grow and thrive. Probiotics kind of come in and give it what it needs. Adaptogens are another really great option for people, especially if you're noticing that you're having skin flare-ups because of stress. Adaptogens help our body to adapt. They help to find balance. They help us to kind of give our body what we need in the face of distress. So if you're adding something like an ashwagandha powder or an ashwagandha capsule, those are really great because it helps to kind of lower our stress response and can impact how that's showing up on our skin or showing up with our hair or our nails. Antioxidants, again, any kind of antioxidants are going to be amazing. So a lot of people will go for things like, pycnogenol or glutathione. Like there's just so many that you can be using. Vitamin C, again, is an amazing one if you're just looking for something to add in really easily, because it's going to be, number one, an amazing antioxidant. Number two, also going to be super helpful for that collagen production. So just a little bit on each of these. So we talked about already pre and probiotics. So a reminder that better bowel movements means less toxins, or better bacteria, means better bowel movements, as well as less toxins recirculating in our body. So making sure that you are having those good bowel movements on a regular basis. If you are not, and you're experiencing those skin issues, start there. That is a great place to start if you don't know where to start. Going back to those adaptogens, another one that's really come onto the market lately is called tremella mushroom. It's dated back to the Tang Dynasty. So it's dating back to like the 1600s of being used by it was this group of women, and I think one of them was using tremella mushroom, or has been said to have been using tremella mushroom for her own beauty, and she was like absolutely gorgeous and all these things. So this is where this is coming from, and it can be more hydrating than hyaluronic acid, and it can improve skin hydration and moisture retention. So it's a really great source of antioxidants as well. Any adaptogen is also a great source of antioxidants. And then we have some recipes for us to check out. Great job, Leah. Good job on taking your ashwagandha every day. So I believe Haley has it set up that these will be available to you. If not, they're here. And we can figure out how to get them to all you guys after. Do not worry. But we do have a few, just kind of ways to use some of the things we talked about today. I know it can be really hard to figure out that piece. So, including these.
Haley is sending the recording afterwards, Rhiannon. So, but you can also take a screenshot of them for those who have their phones handy as well to save for later. But they'll be recording.
Yes. For these two, if you actually go into the files section, there should be a files bit along the side for you guys. There should be them available there.
You just toggle the chat box. There's the files, and they're all PDFs for download.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. So yeah, if you guys need them, they're right there. And so yeah, Superbrew is one of my go-to things. This is literally what I was talking about that I kind of make for my boyfriend. Coffee, MCT oil powder. If I don't have MCT oil powder, so you can swap it out for coconut oil even. Enhanced collagen. And then you can add adaptogens in as you need to help with that stress response. Enhanced yogurt parfait, if you're just looking for ways to get an additional protein. The only suggestion I would maybe make for this is if you can swap out the vanilla yogurt for a plain yogurt and then add your own sweetener. Just find that a lot of the store-bought ones sometimes can be a little bit too sweet or a little bit too much refined sugar added in there. And as we know, that's a gut disruptor, that's a skin disruptor. So, adding a little bit more of a natural sweetener can be more beneficial. Or if you don't mind the taste of stevia or monk fruit, personally, not a huge fan, you can try it out there too. And then Thai stew. So this is a great way to try to use a bone broth. If you've ever bought Organika's beef bone broth, I will say to you right now, just give it a little bit of love if you're trying to stir it into a soup. It just takes a little bit more time. It's just very gelatinous, so you need to just stir it in a little bit more, but it does get there. And then when it comes to the smoothie, this is the plant-based collagen booster. But again, if you have enhanced collagen, you can always swap that out for it instead, or marine collagen, whatever works for you. then again, going back to that super brew. So this is kind of without the beauty or the glow added to it. And this is just quite simple and easy to make. You can swap out oat milk for like almond milk. I make my own almond milk, so I'll just do that instead. And you can even use decaf coffee if you're not having any caffeine. You can do like a dandelion tea as well. I'm actually drinking dandelion tea right now, but if you get like the powdered dandelion tea, then you can actually just do that instead, and it tastes just as delightful. Okay, and that's kind of it right now. I know we might have some questions that haven't been answered yet. I'll see if I can find those. I'm assuming they're the ones that are the cues that have been left there and that we can get to as well. Okay, let's try that. So when we're looking at, I'm just going to answer a few of these questions, and if you guys have more, feel free to keep popping them into the chat. Hi, Lisa. Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted. This is always the normal thing. I feel like at least once a day when I'm doing any video chats with people, it's, oh, you're on mute. There you go.
Oh, now.
Perfect.
Mime my way through it. I don't know if my sign language is fast enough to keep up, though. So I've been behind the scenes answering your questions as Rhiannon has gone along, but would love to read them out as well for those who, I'm sure if one of you have the question, probably 50 others have also been wondering the same thing. And so we'll just read out some of them so that everyone can get the benefit of Rhiannon's information as well. I didn't highlight all of the questions, so I'll just be kind of thorough here. And you can retype your question if you think we've missed it or didn't give you a satisfactory answer, or get you some more info. I'm just going through so many people engaged with having skin problems. It's probably one of the most common symptoms of having gut health issues, but we don't often associate it. In fact, dermatologists don't even look at it, considering that it's one of the most important organs of our immune system. So it's usually the first to show signs of deficiency, and it's the last to correct itself. And it can present in different ways, clearly, for different people. So it's not a one size fits all, that's for sure. One of their favorite terms is asymptomatic dermatitis, meaning they don't know. That's one to get because you're on your own.
Well, that is always a hard one where you're just like, oh yeah, it could be this, and you're like, yeah. Oh, okay. And you get a few topical creams, and that's the thing too. I think luckily now I'm really happy that I think gut health is kind of starting to come more to the forefront, because I think of how many friends went on things like Accutane, which not only disrupted their gut, but then also we're looking at a lot of mental health issues that came from that while you're going through high school, and you're already going through puberty and your hormones are everywhere. Plus let's add this onto it, and it just makes it 10 times worse. So I think now as this conversation starts to open up, hopefully we'll have a little bit more support rather than just kind of going quickly toward a different supplement.
Well, and the biggest thing they don't tell you about these Accutanes and Proactives is that they're incredibly aging. So, at what cost are you resolving some acne temporarily? Because it's drying out your skin and also eroding your collagen stores. So one of the questions we had, my hair is thinning in the past 5 or so years, and it looks as if I'm losing my hair. And that can be common for women, especially if it's hair loss coming from the top of your head. So for some women, it can even start to present like almost looking like male pattern baldness. And if that is you, then you would probably want to go to your naturopath and get your thyroid tested, because that's a hallmark sign of low thyroid, which is an endocrine imbalance. So collagen will help your hair grow in thicker and faster, but it's not going to stop you from losing it if you have a hormone imbalance. And that is so common in women who have gone through menopause. The thyroid just can't keep up anymore like it used to. And a lot of questions came around losing hair and hair loss. So another thing to consider is low iron as well. If you're losing hair, Rhiannon's
I was like, yes. I was waiting for you to say that. Thank you.
From your root. So if it's not just split ends and thinning hair, but you're actually noticing, especially getting like that golf ball size of hair every time you shower, that's probably a sign of low ferritin, your stored iron. And I can tell you my own personal testimonial with iron. I've been in this industry a long time. I've always had low iron. I have chronically taken iron supplements that I've had access to through the different brands I've worked with. And I am now halfway through my pregnancy and just had my ferritin levels tested. And I have a ferritin, which is your stored iron, of 80. I've never had a ferritin of 80, let alone being pregnant. And it's thanks to our absolute iron bisglycinate that Organika launched last August. It doesn't compete or cause constipation. And one capsule is a pregnancy dosage. So if you're getting a lot of hair loss and you want to stop that hairball from happening in the shower, our absolute iron works. And I'm walking proof of it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely have a lot of friends who have kind of gone through that pregnancy piece of, I need iron.
Yeah. And, in a capsule form, I often hear that they've been told by their doctors that capsules aren't as absorbable. And that may have been the case 40 years ago. But when it comes to walking into Nature's Fair, for instance, the amount of iron that you'll have access to, whether it's in capsule form or liquid form, is going to be very bioavailable in the many brands that they offer. And the capsule form is not going to be the same as your typical over-the-counter prescription that's really, really high amount, but very low absorption. So you get that gut rot and that constipation. So you can take much smaller amounts of a natural iron and not have the same issues because you're getting much better absorption from it.
That's great info.
My husband has a fungal infection on his foot. Can collagen help?
I'd say that there's other things going on as well. It's not just collagen. Definitely, I would say that's another case to kind of chat with either a naturopath or someone who actually specializes in that, especially if you're looking at kind of like toenail stuff. There are people that actually do, even in the naturopath world, like the clinic that I work at, that one of the doctors there literally specializes in toe fungus.
It's like the pimple doctors. I just love it.
Yeah, I guess there's some natural way that you can do it versus how it's conventionally done. So yeah, he does it that way, but he loves doing it. He finds it very fascinating. But yeah, I would say that's a case to talk to somebody because there could be some other things kind of going on gut-wise that are more fungal issues that need to be dealt with. So there's going to be a whole other slew of supplements that might be needed and a different kind of diet that might be going along with that.
Yeah, it's interesting because you look at, 50 kids run across the pool deck. Why does only one kid get foot warts, right? So you want to look at the host and the opportunistic virus or infection that's grabbed hold and how it's been able to while others have resisted it. So there's so many other components to that. And just increasing your collagen isn't going to fight off an infection.
No. Yeah.
There's been a couple of people asking about recommendations for food sensitivity testing.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a few options that you can go about doing, and it really depends on how much you want to be spending. So there is everything from, going through your doctor. There's certain allergists that you can go through. Like when I was younger, I had the full panel done on my arm where they kind of do the prick and then they give you things. There are special clinics like the clinic that I'm at, and they actually do what's called biomeridian food sensitivity testing, where it's based more in traditional Chinese medicine and it's based on kind of those acupuncture points. It's not invasive. So it really depends on what you're looking at. But usually I'll recommend if there's some severe things going on, you can do a food sensitivity test. But if you don't necessarily want to be spending the money, you can always do what's called an elimination diet. It is definitely hard. So I usually suggest kind of having somebody to guide you through it, or, picking certain things at certain times. So if you think you might be sensitive to dairy, take it out for 3 to 4 weeks. see how you feel when you reintroduce it and slowly reintroduce it. Or, you know, if it's the same thing, gluten, try the same thing. If you don't want to do them all at once, you can kind of do your own at home if you feel like you don't have the financial means to do it right now.
Yeah, those are all great options.
Yeah.
There was a couple questions on, you know, where does collagen come from? Where does the broths come from? And so I did answer it on the chat, but just for those of you who had questions as well, with all collagen comes from an animal source, and the bone broths are harvested from the bones of the animal. For Organika, it's important to know that our bone broths are organically made every step of the way, from either non-GMO fed cage-free chickens or grass-fed, hormone-free, antibiotic-free cattle. And the grass-fed is, in our opinion, very important as well. It changes the health of the composition of the animals, so they need to be fed less antibiotics and things like that. And you don't want to have those concentrations of heavy contaminants in anything that you're concentrating. We also test free of heavy metals, which is also important when you're taking something from the bones of an animal. And then it's slow cooked, just like you would do bone broth at home, slow cook it. And then we dehydrate it into a powder form so that you can reconstitute it with water at home.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say a fun fact about the bone broth as well, because I also do some of the back-end social media with Organika too, at least during this kind of COVID time while the clinic had closed for a little while. But one of the common questions we'll get is if it's FODMAP friendly. So if it's using onions and garlic, you're fine. Yeah, so we've had them check in and it's just using the bones. And we've had a few people that are on a lowish FODMAP diet, and they've always been fine with using that bone broth.
Yeah, and that's important to know. If you're taking an Organika bone broth for the first time, it does not taste like your XO Mr. Noodle seasoning.
Not at all. It's so good. It's so much better.
Yeah, it is so much better for you, but it is not what some people are expecting. Yeah. It does not taste salty. You want to add your own salt to taste. Good salt, put in some pink Himalayan salt.
Yeah,
I add miso paste.
Yes,
I blend it up with miso paste and tahini, so it gives it like that, like thick kind of creaminess to it.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I like it with our coconut sauce because it's a healthy alternative to soy sauce and it's gluten-free, and it's my lazy way of making it have that nice savory flavor. Right. But you can add your own fresh herbs. You can certainly add it to your base for your recipes like the ones Rhiannon showed. But if you want to just sip on it, you want to add your own spices or seasonings to taste. And the exception to that would be our veggie broth. It does contain organic veggies, but no bones.
It's also that one you don't need as much salt for, because it's if you like nutritional yeast, then it's pretty good.
It's very yummy.
It's got that beautiful base flavor. Yeah.
On the recipe note, Nadine was asking to see the stew slide again. If you could pull that up, really. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, you can either screenshot it or grab it from the files, and then you have the PDF on hand as well.
There was a question about, I think you were on the topic of how, you should avoid excess sugars, especially refined sugars and that kind of thing for gut health. And there was a question about what about fermented sugars like erythritol or swerve. And I'd said they don't have the same effect in the gut like sugar does. And erythritol tends to have the least bowel irritation or laxative effect that some other sugar alcohols may have.
It also tastes the best, in my opinion. I do not like stevia or monk fruit or any of those things, but toss erythritol in something and I'm like, this tastes delicious.
Yeah. It's like because it's the ratio is the same. So whatever your recipe calls for like a cup of sugar, you can use a cup of erythritol. There's not a lot of mathematical guessing game with it if you're substituting with it. And it's not toxic to dogs, whereas xylitol is. So our house is xylitol free, so that no residue gets down to 4-legged height.
That's an important one.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Have we kind of gotten through most of the questions?
So, unless there's any new ones.
A couple at the top. Someone asked what the ingredients are in the Glow product.
It's just tremella mushroom. So
Just
so that's tremella mushroom you can find in Glow. You can also find it in the veggie broth that Elisa was just talking about. The benefit of both is, number one, tremella mushroom is that super hydrating one that I talked about that like literally dates back to the 600s. So that's a really great aspect of it. And then if you are looking in terms of like that veggie broth that we just chatted about right now, that also has nutritional yeast. So you kind of get like a double whammy of B vitamins and the tremella mushroom. So it's super hydrating as well as energizing. And B vitamins are really great for our overall health in general. So skin health, hormone health, all those things.
If dealing with malabsorption issues along with anemia, not processing fats properly, so she's got the whole gambit, would you recommend a naturopath or holistic nutritionist?
Yes. Well, we would definitely recommend that. Going to talk to somebody. Pardon?
They can help get you focused too, so you know where to start and don't feel so overwhelmed. Yeah. Because
it's a long road, and the downside is that it takes a little while. So staying focused and also knowing where to start is always the hard part. So kind of nailing that down.
And it would certainly help to start taking collagen now in the meantime to just help with that gut healing, or get on our bone broths regularly. Yeah. Because it's going to support nourishment and mineral absorption and healing. So
yeah. And sometimes adding a digestive enzyme can also be helpful for some people as well.
What type of face oil is good to use?
Really depends. And it also depends on the brands. So there's like a lot of brands out there of face oils now. Haley, if you have any specific like favorites that are available on Nature's Fair right now.
A beautiful one that's very popular is the Viva Organics line, which is a local Vancouver-based company. Their products, like, out of any that I have tried, I could say last year I got married and I lived off their face oil product to keep that glow going. They've got a really great, I never say the word right, but the hyaluronic acid.
Hyaluronic.
Another hyaluronic acid and vitamin C combination serums. Yeah, and I love their Amaze gel. If you haven't had that, it's like a gommage. So it's gummy and you rub it on your skin and you continue to rub and it balls up and takes off the first layer of your skin without any abrasion. So most exfoliators have like a crushed walnut or something abrasive. The Amaze gel is not. It's like royal jelly, and it massages into your skin. If you do it on the back of your hand, it feels like a baby's bottom afterwards, and without any abrasiveness.
It's incredible.
I'm a big fan.
In the stores, often we'll have, if you want to just sample it, because everybody's skin type is so different, there are little kind of tester packs that you can get from Viva, which is awesome. And then Ellie Bianca is another one that has beautiful face oils. I would recommend checking them out too.
Okay, amazing.
How would I know if it is a hormone imbalance causing acne? That's a good question.
That's a heavy question. There's a lot of things that you can kind of see that are also happening. As a woman, it's a lot easier to pick up on hormonal imbalances than it is necessarily for men. Number one, hormonal acne might pop up more closer to your cycle, or even if it is kind of all month long. But you are still dealing with things like severe cramping, kind of mood swings, if you do get headaches closer to your cycle, tender breasts, anything that kind of indicates that your hormones are a little bit kind of off, could be contributing to that as well. Fatigue, all those things, especially in that second half of your cycle. If you really start to get those like PMS-y symptoms, there could be something happening there.
And where it presents as well. So if your acne is along this area, or presenting in around the mouth and lower chin, that is most definitely hormonal acne, versus the forehead may be more associated with liver or the chest and back. So, but if you have liver issues, you're going to have hormonal imbalances, because the liver is our biggest detoxification of excess hormones. So that's why it's so important to take care of it, even though it can handle a lot of abuse.
Awesome. That, like, such great questions, everybody. Thank you so much for being so engaged in the conversation tonight. It's fantastic.
Another question. You guys are great. So many questions keep coming
Yeah.
up. Do you have any thoughts on Lorna Vanderhaeg's skin cream Celadrin? I used to be the director of education for that brand, so I have lots of information. And I personally love the Celadrin cream. It's really great for hypersensitive skin conditions, the ones that a lot of you mentioned at the beginning, rosacea, psoriasis, those, and even acne are hypersensitive skin conditions. So you want to be really careful about anything you apply topically because it can irritate or make your flare-ups worse. And so Celadrin is a very clean, non-toxic base. There's nothing in it that would trigger an inflammatory response, but always do a taste test. Actually, you could eat it. You shouldn't put anything on your skin you wouldn't. A patch test, just to make sure that you aren't personally reactive to something that's in it. There is chamomile and lavender, so some people are allergic to the chamomile family. So you just always got to make sure that it works for you before you slather it on your whole body. But it really helps to halt redness and inflammation quickly and itch. So I keep it in my outdoor kit for mosquito bites because it keeps me from gouging my legs out when I get bit.
That's a good trick.
Yeah. And I'm always angry when I don't have it on me.
Well,
yeah, here's the comment saying she's loves Lorna products but can't use the Celadrin with her rosacea. So each person's unique. There's not going to be a one size fits all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Awesome. I think we've covered all the questions that we've had pop up, and I want to be cautious of everybody's time tonight and let you wrap up your evenings. So thank you again to both of you for being here and sharing your wealth of knowledge and expertise, and to providing the attendees the information, the recipes, the coupon, and I can't wait to do this again soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much, everyone. It was so wonderful.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Good night.